Joining us in the studio is the man who's been part of the Football Nation Radio team for the better part of the last 3 years. FNR, Football Nation Radio. If you haven't got it, make sure you download the app. They're back on air in a very meaningful way following the COVID scare and the lockdown in Melbourne. And we welcome you back, mate. Very exciting news to hear that FNR is almost back to where it should be, pumping out news stories about the round ball code and about the World Game. There's so many stories going on, and especially in Australia. Just this past week, all the news has been around the rescheduling of this thing they're going to call maybe the Australia Cup. Maybe a sponsor will come on board and make it his own or their own. But we're talking about the FFA Cup. What have you made of some of the decisions?
The timing to return to the studio has been impeccable with the last few weeks, but it was something somewhat unexpected. FFA decided to change their name to Football Australia.
Yes.
Did
you see that coming?
Following the trend of the states. So all the states have removed the federation part of their name. So we've gone Football Victoria, Football New South Wales,
Football Queensland, so on.
Queensland, etc. And now one of the consequences is renaming the FFA Cup, which has been a staple in Australian football for the last 6 years. One of the best things to come out of the FFA and the David Gallop regime when he was in charge.
Yeah.
One of the names that has been thrown up is the Australian Cup, which was a thing. I believe it was one of the oldest
years ago,
competitions in Australian sport. So I think it would be nice to pay homage to that.
It would be tremendous. We've had the Ampol Cup in the past, and it reeks of some tremendous stories and some great games. And it was another era. But if we could rekindle a brand new era or give rise to a new era with some fantastic football, it'd be just super exciting. But they're going beyond that. They're not only just going to rename it, but they've opened it to the country, to any team that wants to participate. Already we're talking about close to 800 clubs, and there are many others who will be excited by the news. And they've also now elevated it, and they're going to make it an even more exciting event than it's ever been.
That's right. So one of the big things of the FFA Cup, or certainly one of the grievances many people had with it, was it didn't feel like a major event. Now it will have standalone weekends for the semi-finals and the finals. So it'll be a pretty big occasion, and it'll have its own
and a
calendar.
Cherry at the end of it that whoever wins.
Yes, it's a great incentive. So they will get one of the half spots into the Asian Champions League. So the winner of the FFA Cup will qualify for the preliminary rounds to get into the group stage.
We used to talk about the magic of the Cup. I mean, there is some magic here now, because the prize is like, oh my God, it's like the holy grail of football. If you're not in the A-League, and if you're not in the second division, what a journey. Could you imagine?
The possibilities, and it depends how far your imagination stretches. South Melbourne could be playing in the Asian Champions League, or State 5 East Q could be playing in the Asian
it's too
Champions
exciting.
League. But it's a great incentive, especially for those mid-tier A-League clubs, teams like Newcastle or even a Western United or Macarthur, who are yet to qualify for Asia, are brand new to this. It's a great incentive for them to start the season on the right foot, win some games, and there's a great prize at the end of it, as you said.
Athos Sirianos, you mentioned a derby, and you couldn't start a new era in the best possible light than pitting the team that wants to be the champions of the West, the Wanderers, who have already notched up some famous victories over the years, up against a brand new team called the Bulls. This has all the makings of a classic, and hasn't even come out of the ground yet.
That's right, and Western Sydney will be desperate to rectify quite a poor season last year. They were expected big things in their brand new stadium and
new coach
as well. They didn't quite make the finals last year. And to Macarthur, well, the sky's the limit for them. They've got a pretty good team that they have assembled. Picked up a few players from the Basque country as well, who were all very excited to see, as well as a few great local players like Rami Najarine and Denny Jonro, as well as guys like Mark Milligan, who have returned to Australia once again.
So a mix of the youth and a mix of real experience, and captain of the Socceroos, so exciting times. We're talking about exciting times, we're talking about players. We're talking about a new season, but there's even more news, and that's been how the FFA is now talking about a series of webinars to discuss a domestic transfer system. This is what every club in the country wants, surely.
Yes, our prayers have not fallen on deaf ears, George, and it's something that the game has needed, because we've seen the way the system works is players would get released from a club and then picked up on a free. So there was no actual transaction between the two A-League clubs, which is not good for anyone, and saw players constantly released and picked up.
And not only that, the younger clubs, the lower tier clubs, who raised these players, who created them, so to speak, gave them the opportunity to grow and make a career for themselves. The Heidelbergs, the Sydney Olympics, the Oakleys, now they have a chance to be rewarded for giving this talent a chance to emerge. That's exciting stuff too.
Absolutely. Normally they would have to wait until the player went overseas to get some kind of reward, but now as soon as they reach the professional level in Australia or make the jump from NPL to A-League, there will be some reward there too, which is what we want. We want to bridge the gap between all tiers of football here in Australia.
Well, stand by, FNR. We'll have some more news on that over the next few weeks. Asian League, the Australian teams that have been participating, and we're still talking about the last season, haven't fared too well. No wins yet, but a number of close results.
Yes, Melbourne Victory were 2-0 up against Chiang Rai United, the Thai champions. Ben Falami and Jacob Rimmer scored debut goals. What's amazing about the Victory, though, is there's still a chance to qualify for the round of 16. Should they beat FC Seoul, who they only lost 1-0 to in Korea last time out, they will actually progress through to the next round, which means that they will have to delay their return to the A-League, because, of course, they will have to come from Qatar here, quarantine for 14 days, and then go from there.
Before I let you go, what is the most exciting thing to have had happen in the European competition overnight? We saw a number of results. Any surprises for you?
Well, Group B, which has everyone thought Real Madrid and Inter would dominate, they're actually sitting 3rd and 4th respectively, and are a chance of both missing out of the next stage. So Lokomotiv Moscow and Shakhtar Donetsk are currently occupying the top 2 spots. So all positions are up for grabs with one game remaining in the Champions League for that group.
Athos Sirianos giving us the lowdown on all that's happening in the World Game. If you want to know some more, make sure you follow him and the team at FNR, Football Nation Radio. Thank you, Athos.
Thanks, George.